Hey, welcome to the part 2 of environment creation. What we're gonna do here, last session we worked on this area. We showed some set dressing techniques and hey, welcome. I had some audio issues. There you go. So if you hear me well, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I need to adjust something. So what I plan to do now, as you can see in my environment, it looks a little bit fake. And the reason is we have been working a lot on the foreground and the middle ground, but not in the background. So before we treat this as the foreground, that's your first element. Have the middle ground here, and then you have the background, which is like these elements and these elements. As we add more and more stuff, the scene gets more complicated, and apparently our background doesn't seem to be working. We need something else because this looks very empty. So we're gonna create the modular parts for that. There is an easy way to fill up this empty space, and we're going to talk about different design languages, how to create your modular parts, and how to assemble those modular pieces so that you can have something very unique. Okay, so before we start, there was a question from Unai Sanchez. I'm a game producer and project manager coming from the mobile games industry, but I know I want to learn more about making my own games. I also have studies in game design in California Institute of Arts and in advanced video game publishing in DigiPen Institute of Technology. My question is, what engine will you guys recommend me starting with, UE5 or Unity? I know about the pros and cons for both engines, but some of my game ideas are more ideated for UE5, and I see Unity more for mobile gaming, which is what I've been working on for the past 4 years. For a newbie game dev, what will be more suitable, or either way it's suitable? Okay, of course I recommend you to start with Unreal. It is true that Unity is more focused on mobile. That doesn't mean that there are not mobile games made in Unreal and there are not PC games made in Unity. It's just that the way the tool set works is just suited to work that way. Unreal is very friendly because you don't need to code. I mean, you have visual scripting and you can skip the C++ part for later, but honestly, you don't need it if you want to create a project yourself. You can just make everything with blueprints. If you want to deep dive into the C++ area, it's like optional. It's always good to know more, but know your limits. As far as how you can start, this is a great way to start. I don't know exactly your level of game development and like in between each area what skills you have. Like you are more of a programmer or more of a designer, animator, or VFX or sound designer. So either way, you need to learn some fundamentals, and if you want to start, you can go to unfgames.com. You can find the Quest website. I'm gonna put it here. Unif Games. You will go here. And you will go to Quest. And here, it's divided into different categories and levels. You got the foundation. You have the introduction. You can create your first game here or create your mechanic. If you want blueprints, you also have like complete introduction to blueprints. These are all free, by the way, and it's in our YouTube channel. It's just the way it's organized in the website is more, it's easier to see which category and which difficulty you're getting into. Creating your first games is more blueprint stuff. It's like it will be applying the same concepts you do here. Modeling stuff, it's completely different. World building, materials, VFX, animation and physics, game mechanics, mission to Minerva. We will do more like those in the future. Expect in the next months to have more projects, like complete projects from the beginning to an end, like create a game and add all the stuff you need. It will be more of a long format tutorials, like longer than usual, but they should have like the complete answer, because usually you will find like, oh, I know how to program this, but I don't really know how to add the VFX or whatever, or the physics, or there's always like different pieces that you need to find in different places. So we want to combine those pieces into one single tutorial that has the whole thing. So if you want to start it, that's a very organized way to do it. Of course, if you go into YouTube, you will find multiple sources from different people. It's just, I recommend this one because it's very organized. So you can see the difficulty level and the different categories. So just leaving that out there. So yeah, I will recommend you to start with Unreal. Of course, it's the leading engine for a reason. Okay, so let's start. I have a bunch of assets that I download, and I'm using the same master material for all the rocks. So all my assets are using the same material with the same texture. So I'm saving a lot of memory. Like maybe here I'm saving, like how many items I have, like 32. I should be saving around 30 gigabytes of memory, around that, just to give you an idea how much you can save when you create one master material with multiple textures. So if you're interested, go to our website. You can download the material for free. So we need to fill in the blanks several places. Like here, for example, we need to put something here, and everything we need to put so that it's pointing at the direction of our focal point. Our focal point is this one, so everything we put will support our idea. Remember, every time you create something, you have an idea in mind, as this is related to art, but also to environment art or whatever it is that you are designing. Your idea is basically your composition, and my composition is basically a bunch of shadows here that I'm pointing towards this direction. And so far we have accomplished this, but we're lacking a strong foundation on our composition, which is like the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. We used to have the background. Now that we have more stuff in the middle, we kind of lost it. So we're gonna get back to it. So why I'm gonna show you this modular piece method is because drag and drop this stuff is just gonna take so long, and we're not gonna do that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is to grab one of this. Remember, these assets, even they are small, because of the material we have, the textures scale with the size of it, so you don't really need to worry. We're gonna start with big assets, and we're gonna keep lowering the size until we have a smaller asset. So we're gonna fill in the blanks with big assets, and then we're gonna remove this for now. And what we're gonna do is to create a bigger piece using this asset. So I'm just gonna grab a bunch of those, just so that I can have some interesting shapes here. What I'm looking for when I drag and drop this is to create some shapes. Like now, my shape is this one, right? That's my shape. And that's okay, but I think it can be a little bit more interesting. So what I will do is maybe grab one of, probably this one. There you go. Now when you want to design something, try to put like in a grid. Like you can put like 3 by 3, something like that. And in a way, when you design something, you can go half, but that's not very interesting. Or you can go 1/3 and 2/3. So let's say my 1/3 is like this one. So I'm gonna put all the weight here. So this one needs to be bigger. And here, let's just say this is the middle. I will need to lower this one down. So if I follow this principle, I can just scale this something like this. And I can lower this down. Now you see that this box here, we have half here and half here. That's not really a good thing to have. So let's add more elements so that we can break this this pattern. We can continue to add this one, for example. We can add this one here. So now we're adding another shape here. We have one big shape, one in the middle, one in the bottom. So now this is start becoming a little bit more interesting here. Let's keep adding more shapes. We can add the slope. Now remember, we can always change this later if we decide to do so. Now this is a very big shape, so what I can try to do is to mix some smaller shapes here, just so that I can have more unique elements. Try to something like that. Now that's very unique if you ask me. Let's remove this. This thing stands out too much. Let's see what we can add. Maybe we can add this one here. This looks good to me. Let's break this big shape. Probably can use one of this. Now what I'm doing here, it's checking the shadows. Now of course the shadows will change depending on my lining. I already have a lining set up here, which is working fine for me. So I'm looking for patterns. So we're looking for size, we're looking for having a different distribution of the shapes, big shapes, small shapes. We also looking for interesting patterns in the shadows. You can see, you can blend, combine this shadow into one shape. You can combine this shadow into one shape. And also, if you go here, you can combine this whole thing into another shape. So the same with the same method we use to basically separate the sizes of the assets, we also need to check the proportion of the shadows. Like, are we having 30% shadow, 70% light, or are we having an even distribution of light and shadow? This is what we call the design matrix. And that also has to do with how much contrast we have. But we're not touching the contrast part yet. We're not in painting, we can call it chiaroscuro. I think it is Italian word, chiaroscuro, which is in Spanish means claro oscuro, which means bright and dark, which means how much contrast you want here. So you will have like different shapes here. And that alone, it's enough to give you an interesting design. So we're gonna keep adding shadows and lights. And this is what is, you know, behind the scenes of a good, you know, it's not just about dragging assets, although it looks simple. Let's rotate it a bit so we can see if we can get a shadow. We're combining this shadow, so let's do something like this. We can lower this too. There you go, and also we this one a little bit thinner, just to make it a little bit unique. But anyway, if you have any question, just let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to answer as soon as we finish something here. We'll look at the comments and we can have a Q&A session. I don't like this rock here because I like this shape. Now this looks like a lot of work, but that's because I'm explaining. I'm having like a diagonal shape here that I don't want to lose. If I put an asset here, essentially I will break this even more. So I don't want to lose the shadow. I think it works quite well. And it will also depend on how I place my asset into the world. So just keep that in mind. You always see the shadows, like here, for example. There you go. I think this is helping. Let's do another one here. There you go. Now to make it even better, we can put this kind of assets here. And look at that. This asset, it's let's talk about another topic, just because I found this error. This asset is using the default Megascans material. So what I'm gonna do is something really simple. I'm gonna press Ctrl B to open the content drawer, and you will see it comes with some textures. I'm gonna put my master material here. But before that, I'm gonna show you what's the size of this folder. Going to size map. I have 950 megabytes for the whole size. That's a lot. This is the static mesh. It's only 160 megabytes. So it means I have around 800 megabytes of size in textures. So we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna go here and put our rock material and put it here. I will just take some time to load. Let's see, 80 minutes. Usually these nanite assets are like that. Like every time you change something, you need to wait. A lot of your game development time will will be watching this screen, like shaders compiling, assets being loaded into memory, just part of the job. Okay, so that's my master material. And now that I have this, and because I'm using world position offset, I'm changing the texture based on the size. So I can just like put something like this if I want it. Now what I'm gonna do is to save this. I'm gonna save this asset. And after it's saved, I'm gonna select all of this and I'm gonna delete it. And with that, all these textures are gone, more than 800 megabytes. So if I go to the size map, you will see that it's only 400 megabytes. Now, why is not only 150? Is because I'm referencing these textures from my master material. But the thing is, 31 assets are using around 300 megabytes. So it means every asset is only about 150 megabytes. Then my project will be much lighter. You won't be like Call of Duty Warzone. Every time there is an update, you download like 20 gigabytes, something like that. You don't want that. There's no reason to have that. So yeah, there you go. That's small tip for optimization. We're gonna leave the small little details for the rock blending at the bottom for later. Let's go here and go to my rocks. There should be a blending asset. I'm sure I have something here. Let's try this one. Well, this one not quite the one I was looking for. It helps. This one also not the one I was looking for, but it will help blending the environment. Now, if I put this one here, I lose my shadow, and I don't want that, so I will leave it here. And because these assets are meant to be big, I don't really want to put smaller assets. I'm gonna put something here. Let's see if we're lucky and find something. I can go here. It's not really working for me. Yeah, these small assets will help to break the shape and add more contrast. So let's do it again. What I'm looking when I place these assets is the silhouette that this has. So now, right now it's like this. I want to have a little bump here. I'm just not exactly sure where to put it. So I'm gonna maybe put it here. But I don't feel it's working. So I'm gonna just leave those like that. Let's try another asset to see if we can come up with other interesting shapes. Actually, let's just leave this like this. So now what I should do is to select all these assets. I'm gonna control click. And I'm gonna make sure I have everything here. Looks like I don't. I only have one asset left. There you go. And now I'm gonna go to level and right click level create pack level actor. We can put the center minimum C axis. I think it will work well. And what we will do is put a math rock large 0, 1. Like I can put a medium, I can put small. This is so that I know that this asset is meant to be for large surfaces. So I'm gonna save here. I'm gonna save the blueprint here. There you go. So now we have our blueprint. We can just drag and drop this one and place it anywhere we want. So for example, I can try to place it here, and let's try to find a way we can put it. And because it's it's basically collection of different assets, it's gonna look much better compared to, you know, just a regular asset here. Let's go back here and maybe we can try to put it closer. I will lose the shape there. Now this asset alone won't do much. So what I need to do is to basically create more and more different shapes for this. So I'm gonna remove this. So now I can see the shapes there. I kind of like it. I like the shape of that rock. I think it's working quite well. It's helping to sell the scale. We just need to add a little bit more assets. In the future, maybe we can add some trees or something like that. We will see. We will see. I'll take a little break. Let's go for some questions. Where is the material? The material is here. And I'm gonna put a link. There you go. That's rock master material. How can we optimize levels? You have 40 frame seconds in this map. I will leave the optimization to the end. You can always optimize as you go by having good practices. Like, for example, we're using one material for all the rocks. So we're already optimizing it without like doing anything extra. We're optimizing we're reusing the textures. We're having less textures loading to memory. We're reusing the shader. So it's that's a way to optimize it. You need to use some commands. Press the tilde key and press stat unit, and this will give you some indicators. You have the frame, you have the game, you have the draw, and you have the GPU time. So basically, you can easily find the bottleneck when you see the higher numbers. Like the frame is too high. Usually you want around 8 milliseconds. We're on 24, so stat unit graph also will help you to determine like where are the spikes. Probably is the water. Like the water at safe as like 1 millisecond. Not really there. But like you need to start like analyzing first where is the where is the bottleneck? In this case, is the GPU is what's causing problems. What causes the GPU to load more? One is shader complexity. So if we take a look at the shader here, you will see that the landscape material, it's a little bit heavy. I wouldn't call it a problem. That's very normal for landscape materials, especially for big worlds. You will have many textures there. So it's one way. The other way is transparency. And of course, the shader count for each material that we're having here, it's actually hurting us. So we need to optimize this. Remember that these are KitBash3D assets and they don't really come with the new, let's just call it the blueprint level instances. So this essentially are loaded into memory without being instanced. So that's a problem, but that's something that can be easily solved. We're gonna talk more about the frames later. We're gonna disable the show stats. And also I'm gonna disable it here. Stat unit graph. So I can just play my game and I can get a feeling of this asset in the background. It's really helping. I feel it's really helping. How to start the design of the map? Well, there are many ways. First, you need an objective. In this case, my objective is here. And then you need to show a path to go to that objective. And you can go to different branches. You can, like in my case, I'm going from here and I'm using these wood planks to guide the player to the main objective. This part is not finished, but I will put more and more paths until I reach here. That's how you need to start with the objective. Without the objective, you don't have a clear goal how to do your level design. And also your objective will help you to think about your composition. Just like this, your composition is helping to watch here. Questions about the environment or any type of blueprint questions? I'm not gonna be able to answer any type of blueprint questions because my background is environment art, 3D art in general. I used to be an environment artist for Ubisoft, so that's where I can help you most. I know blueprints, but Ram is the guy in charge of blueprints here. When he has a live stream or something he wants to show, I think that would be the right place to ask those questions. But you can always ask on Discord, and if he has some time, he can answer you. What kind of GPU? There is a website with the recommended settings. I'm using 270 NVIDIA card. Not the best, but it's a laptop, so it works quite well for small to medium projects. You can always suggest to use RVTs. Yes. And I think I don't have them on this project. The reason is I didn't expect it to be that long. Yeah, I'm not using virtual textures for this project, and they can help to alleviate the CPU memory, because it's like they will put a grid and it's kind of like virtualized geometry, but it's like virtualized textures. The more you need, the more resolution it will show, and the less resolution you need, the less it will load. So I recommend using virtual textures for all your projects. No exception, I think. Okay. So let's create a couple of more modular assets. We already have this, so let's try to create something a little bit different. Let's go through the same foundation again. Let me hide this just so that we have a clear state. Let's start with this one. There you go. Now mine was more vertical, so I will try a more horizontal approach. So I will go like this. And just like before, I'm gonna divide into a grid here. Okay, I'm gonna have like a little bit of extra. There you go. So it's a bit better. My frames drop from time to time. That's very normal when you're working in this kind of projects. This one I don't really need. Go for this one. This one can give an interesting shape. Concave shape. Like without it, you only have this. I think it works quite well. Another one. This one. I think this one we can use for another time. Let's try another shape. This one we already use. We can try this one actually. Something like that. We need a little bit more light here. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, like this shape here, when I put this one here, it breaks it. Like it have something like this, which in my opinion it looks more interesting. Go for another one here. We can have like a transition piece here. You don't want to watch this sharp edge here. You want to hide it whenever possible. Let's see what else we have. We have this one. This one looks promising. Let's make it bigger. Remember, because we're using our rock shader, we are not really scared of scaling my rock, because the textures are actually scaling with us. Just look at that. and at distance they will also change the size. So try to put this in position like this. Now what I try to do here is to try to divide this into a rule of third. If you're familiar with photography, you will have like 1, 2/3 here. So same here, like this is the half. So it means this is 1/3 and this is another third. So and same here, like this is 1/3, and we're having like a big shape here. Now it's can be a little bit hard process at the beginning, but trust me, it's not that hard. Can also put this shape here. I feel like it's helping to break this shadow. Again, same principles we talked at the beginning. Let's see if we can manage to... This can be very interesting. If there is a place for this, it should be here. Yeah, it's not really working for us. I don't like this shape, so we're gonna delete it. We're gonna save everything just in case. Now let's go here and just put these rocks here. They help selling the environment. And we can also put things like this. No, you don't see them, but you know, if only if we want to show the scale, we need those assets. For now, we won't put them. We're gonna focus on the big shapes, and as we update this blueprint, we're gonna keep adding more and more shapes, maybe different types of assets too. Okay, I feel like this can work. This little shape, it's annoying, so I'm gonna delete it. Let's just click all of this. Let's make sure we have everything. Right click, level, create pack level actor, go here. And we will call it rock large hero 2. And we will go here. And we will call the same. And with that, we will have our new blueprint. Now that I have this, have more choice here. I can go here. I can make it bigger if I want it. I can also go put it in the background, like really in the background. So let's go here. Put it here, for example, and at this point, we can also scale it on Y, multiplied by -1. You have an interesting result here. Yeah, it works quite well. So remember, as you can also change the... There you go. Now you have a nice rock at the background. go back here and see where we can put this. Now the thing about these rocks are that you don't want to mix with this. So for example, I put this rock here. That's a rookie mistake. Don't do that. Like, oh, I want to put a rock in the background. And yeah, you have the rock in the background. Let's make it a little bigger. You have the rock in the background, but now you lost the silhouette. Now the silhouette is this. It's not this one. This is lost. All this part is lost. It's combined into the rock. So as soon as I remove this, you'll see it's much better. So if you want to put a rock in the background, don't put it behind your main silhouette here. Do something like this. No, it's definitely an issue. Yeah, we can go for something like this. If you do that, you're gonna make your environment look small. Now this feels massive, right? I kind of like it, but as soon as you do that, your castle feels really small. So that will depend up to you, like what do you want to put? In my case, I feel it looks nice. Maybe I want to keep it, but we will have to see. We'll have to make the decision later. Let's put this one, multiply by -1. As soon as I do that, I have something like this, and I can just remove this. Remove this one here. And try to put it in position here. Now be careful not to block the environment. Now we need this one here. Just so that we block the player from watching what's there. And we can add another rock here to help with the background. Something like that, and it will make your castle look even smaller. So just leave it like this. And this rock here acts as a blocker, because you're watching here and your eye goes here, and if he wants to go here, that's a block, and your eye will turn like a ping pong, like it's like go here and then go here. And because we already have such nice shapes here, it's much easier for us to place those assets instead of just, you know, dragging one by one to the thing. So let's try again with the gameplay, how it feels. I feel it's much better, and you can see where we don't have this background mountain here, so maybe we need to make it bigger and put it like here, something like that. Yeah, that's much better. So now we can add like some clouds in the background if we want it later. If you are interested in how this part was made, check the part 1 when we decorate this area. The other area is not decorated. The rest of the parts, unfortunately, was during the streaming. I streamed all the parts, but unfortunately the stream is not available. So yeah, I think it helps. I think it definitely helps. Of course, it's not as... like, this rock is massive, right? So makes everything feel smaller. But we're having some background elements. Let's try to do a last one. And let's see what we can come up with. We're gonna do a large version again. So we're gonna go for rocks. And this time, we already have those shapes. We have a shape that is something like this. And the other one is a shape that looks like this, right? Horizontal. So maybe we can try to have something more... something like this, like a little bit tall, not too wide. Or we can also go for something completely wide. And so let's just hide this and let's just start with this one. This looks like a good choice to start. And then we're gonna add this one because we really haven't added it so far. I don't think this one is working quite well. Perhaps this one can be here to break those shapes. And let's see if we can bring it to maybe this area. This one is not working quite well. I'm a little bit disappointed. This asset was really nice, so go for this one. And let's go maybe for this one. And let's go... this one can be a good choice too. Yeah. Start to dig it. And let's break these shadows. With the shadows a bit, and also make sure to remove this for now, just so that we have a clear idea of our silhouette. As soon as you do that, you can see I can make this one a little bit taller. We want something a little bit bulky here. Let's just put this one here. Like, it's working quite well. I like the shadow that it's creating. We don't have much shadow, so we need to add another asset here. And there you go. This one can work quite well. Definitely helps. So we're gonna use it. We're gonna put it just like this. We can also try making it larger. Let's see how it looks with or without. Okay, this one's much better. Let's see what kind of shapes we can get with this one. You see, it's all about the shapes. It's all about the shapes. That's what differentiates the professional from the amateur. It can see these shapes. It's trained. It's like at the beginning, it can take some time, but as you keep working on those, you will explore different shapes. You see this shadow here? It's actually helping a lot. Let's check our design matrix. A little bit of a shadow here. And this is combined with this. Where else we have shadows? We have here. Actually, this one can be a whole piece. A little bit here. And this area is mostly lit. So I think we can go with that. Let's try another asset. If it doesn't work, we still have something nice. It's a different shape. So let's try maybe this one. I feel this doesn't work. So let's just click on all of those. Let's make sure we have everything. Right click, level, create pack level actor, go to OK. We'll call it number 3. And go to the blueprints. Put it number 3 here. There you go. That's our third asset. So now we can start playing a little bit more. Now we have 3 assets here. So now you don't necessarily need to, you know, you will avoid the repetition here. Like, definitely you will do it. So let's put -1 here. Look at that. Very easily we can remove those areas of the landscape that we don't want to show. Just like that. We can go a little bit down. There you go. And also put it here. And because this asset is meant to be, you know, for background, even though our material allows us to get closer without seeing any tiling. And we will need to redesign this castle maybe. For example, just to try something. If you make it bigger, then the rock looks smaller. So it's a balance between sizes. The proportion, it's something that you need to nail. And that comes with practice and experience. Oh, let's put this one here. Or maybe we can grab this one. See that as we create different assets, it's very easy for us to just fill in the blanks quite easy, especially if we know what are the main purpose. Like we have large assets, we have look at this part. Let's talk about this for a second. You have this shape, and this is what makes it interesting. Whereas if I were to move this one here, I am losing the silhouette. It's only one part. There is not concave parts. So you want to create those. You want to, this a little bit too much. Let's reduce the size a bit. I mean, it looks great, don't get me wrong, but maybe a little bit too much. Let's leave it like that. So now we can just go back here and play some shapes. And now we can create unique shapes using this tree. We can combine them to have something unique. For example, this one. And then you can combine those here. Or you can move this one, like here, for example. And you won't even notice it's the same asset. Because as we add more and more stuff, it's gonna get much easier to hide that we're using the same asset. So here, we can try to make it smaller if we want. Let's try to put it here in position. There you go, something like that. And we can try to hide this part. Just say let's block this area here. We don't want to decorate that area, so let's just block it. And let's just combine those shapes until you have like something unique. Don't worry about these things going down. We don't really need to worry about those for the moment. And at this point, I don't really want to add more meshes. The reason is I want to lay down the foundation for our environment, and then we're gonna think about the rest of the stuff. Now this part is blocking this area, which is nice. That's what we want. Maybe this can be a little bit bigger, 1.7. I mean, this area we're not gonna walk in, so we're not worried about it if the scale is off. I'm not really worried about this. Okay, so let's try our game again. And also, I feel like we need a little bit more on the background. Make it bigger. Well, let's try it. Try to put it in the background, like really far away. Just be careful with the silhouette here. Also, this looks a little bit strange. Let's duplicate this one and multiply this y by -1 to get the negative value. Rotate this and try to just put it here in the background, like that. Yeah, much better. Maybe we will need some vegetation in the future, just so that we add more materials into this. But now I feel like this is looking much better compared to before. So let's take a look at this. Always this part has some issues with the performance. We will need to take a look at what that is. Now we have our background here. which helps to sell the environment. We're not really looking there, but we could definitely put some assets in the background. So in the next session, we're going to work on the medium-sized assets, and we're going to work on the smaller size assets, and we will start decorating with those. And eventually we will finish this environment. It's going to be a long project, so stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will go through the questions and we will wrap this up. About level design, I'm making a solo project, but I'm stuck thinking there's something always missing in the environment and I can't tell what it is. Any tip to learn more about level design? Yes, if there is one tip I can give you, is learn art foundation, because level design is basically giving the player experience. You can think about the flow and everything, and maybe your game is fun, but if you don't guide the player to the right objective, then it's gonna be messy. So learn some art foundation. New Masters Academy is very good for that, so that can be an option for you. Is this ready for use for cinematic arts and gameplay also? It's ready for use for gameplay. We just need to check the collision here. And whenever there is no collision, we just need to add collision and that's it. Move some things around. My PC setup, it's a laptop, 32 gigabytes RAM, NVIDIA RTX 2070 Super, and i7 processor, something like that, Intel. What's your name? You can call me Mal. Okay, let's wrap this up. Hopefully it has been a good session. If you want to learn more, remember we have the action game course. There's a link there. You can learn how to create a game from scratch. So take a look at the course. If this is what you're looking for, it may be helpful for you. Start from the very beginning and you learn all the game development foundation you need to create a game with AAA quality. With all the things that we're teaching here, there is a lot more insight in a very step-by-step process. Of live streams, you can have access to those live streams and a lot of extra stuff there. So make sure to check it out if you want to turn from beginner to professional game developer one of these days. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.